Gaslighting is a buzzword in the recovery and personal development space right now. And frankly, I couldn't be happier about it. Gaslighting is pervasive and it's found its way into each and every bit of our culture. The more aware that we become, the sooner we can break the cycle and heal from it. The hardest part about gaslighting is realizing how often I've done it. I've caught myself doing it to my son as a parent. I've caught myself doing it to my siblings, friends, past coworkers, past relationships. It's sickening when you think about it. But now that I'm aware, I am able to catch myself when I'm doing it to other people. However, what is not talked about enough is how we do it to ourselves. Not only is it not talked about enough, but really we don't even realize that we're doing it. And unfortunately, gaslighting ourselves is in an odd way accepted in society. In fact, it's almost encouraged. But I am getting ahead of myself. Let's take a step back for a second. What the heck is gaslighting? Gaslighting, by definition, is to manipulate someone into thinking that the reality in front of them isn't the actual reality. In a nutshell, it's me and you going on a walk and you saying, oh my gosh, look at the sky. It's so beautifully blue. And my response is, no, it's not. It's green. And you look up and you go, no, it's blue. And I am so insistent that it's green, and I'm so obsessed with it, and I'm so convicted by this thought that you look up and you begin to think, well, hey, maybe it is green. And you begin to wonder, am I seeing things correctly? What's going on? That, in a nutshell, is gaslighting. But what's this notion of self-gaslighting? What does that look like? Before I dive in, real quick, if this is your first time hanging out, welcome. My name is Karleigh Saunders. I'm a confidence and abuse recovery coach. I'm here to help you not only heal from the abuse that you endured, but also to help you build the skill of confidence so you can go out and live the independent life that you deserve. Self-gaslighting. How does this work? What does it look like? And how on earth can we finally put an end to it? Today, I'm going to share with you not only what self-gaslighting is, but 5 ways for you to stop doing it to yourself and maybe even call out other people when they're doing it. All right, let's get to it. But before we go too deep, we need to get really clear on what self-gaslighting is. Like I mentioned, gaslighting is manipulating someone into thinking that the reality that they see, feel, think, experience isn't actually happening. I used the example of a sky earlier, but it doesn't always have to be something physical. It could be something as simple as, it's not like I hit you, get over it. Or, it doesn't hurt that bad. Oh my gosh, it's not like it was love, just grow up already. Things like this. Have you heard it? Trust me, I have time and time and time again. What happens when you're manipulated like this on a regular basis is your brain begins to not trust you. It begins to go, I see a blue sky, but that's not right. There's no way that's right. It's definitely green, right? Yeah, it's green. I see it's blue, but I can't trust my own eyes. It's, well, he's right. He didn't actually hit me. So that's not abuse because he didn't hit me. So, and I'm sure I deserved it anyway. It's, oh my gosh, that really hurt really bad, but I have to just suck it up because I'm just doing this for attention. Self-gaslighting is taking those things that were said to us and putting it on ourselves. We question ourselves. We question our own ability. We question our own feelings, our experiences. We feel like what we went through was manufactured and wasn't truly what was happening. We feel like there's something wrong with us instead of acknowledging that this stuff is just manipulation. You begin to question yourself and fall into this trap of thinking that everything you think, feel, say, do is wrong. That is self-gaslighting. And what I want to make very clear is that this isn't limited to when you're in a relationship. I have been single for almost 4 years now, and I have on several occasions, in fact, even recently, gaslit myself into thinking that a physical panic attack that I was happening wasn't actually happening and I was making it all up. Yeah, this ish runs deep. I remember being in the car, coming down from this awful panic attack and thinking to myself, if you wanted it to end, it would have. You're just doing it for attention. You should just calm down. You should just get over it. It's not that bad. right? Like when I say it that way in reference to a physical panic attack, it's just like, oh my gosh, why? You can't control that. But that is what gaslighting does to your brain. It changes your brain into thinking that even physical responses like severe anxiety and panic aren't real. This is one of the reasons why gaslighting is so dangerous, because it becomes normalized. It becomes a part of who we are. Think about it. As parents, we are taught to tell our kids to get over it, to toughen them up, to not let them, get too in their feels. We've experienced that. I've experienced that. I've been told to get over it. I've been told it didn't hurt that bad. I was told that I was being too sensitive, that I was just a baby, all of these things. What happens with self-gaslighting, with gaslighting in general, and you begin to do it to yourself, is you lose trust in yourself. You don't trust what your eyes see. You don't trust what your hands feel. You don't trust your own feelings. You don't trust your reactions. You second guess every bit of yourself. The less trust that you have in yourself, the more susceptible you are to end up in an abusive relationship. Because if you don't trust yourself, you don't call out the red flags. If you don't call out the red flags, and if you're not aware of what's happening, you're going to end up stuck in another really awful, dangerous situation. This is so important for us to call out and recognize and become really clear on, because it's not until we become aware of what's happening that we can end the cycle and we can heal from it. So how do we stop this? What do we need to do? What are those things that we have to do consistently in order to end the self-gaslighting cycle? Let's get into it. The first step is becoming aware. Admit that you do it. Admit that you're gaslighting yourself. Admit that you have told yourself over and over that your thoughts, feelings are wrong, that your dreams are wrong, that you're not capable, you're not worthy, you're not enough, you're not smart. Admit it. As awful as that is, and as much as it sucks to admit that you've been doing this to yourself, this is the first step to moving forward and breaking the cycle. Trust me, it took me way too long to fully admit to myself that I was doing it to not only myself, but to other people. But once I accepted that it was happening, once I accepted that it happened to me, and that that's why I was doing it to other people, not because I'm a bad person, but because it's normalized, I was able to let it go. But you can't change what you're not aware of. And so until you accept that it's truly happening, and I mean really accept it, nothing's going to change. So that is step one. Step number two, commit to calling yourself out. The more aware you become, the more your brain's going to pick up on it. And that's why you have to become hyper aware of when you do it. The more you call attention to it, the more your brain will naturally pick up on these pieces of gaslighting yourself. And then when you do that, I want you to call yourself out. Now, make sure you hear me correctly. I didn't say beat yourself up. I don't want you to call yourself names. I don't want you to put yourself down. And I don't want you to guilt yourself for self-gaslighting. Trust me, the last thing your brain needs right now is more beating up on itself. It doesn't need to hear how awful it is. Right now, it just needs to become aware that it's doing it. It doesn't need to be berated. It just needs to be aware. So next time you go, oh my God, I'm just so stupid. This is so wrong. You can go, nope. That's self-gaslighting. The next time you have a panic attack and you begin to question it, you can go, you know what? Nope. This is a physical response. My body's having a physical response. I am gaslighting myself. Something as simple as that is going to be huge. The fact that you're here watching this video already shows that you already have some sense of awareness. So calling yourself out isn't going to be as difficult as it may sound. However, it does mean that you're going to have to get comfortable with calling yourself out without beating yourself up, which takes time. It takes skill. Think of it as if you're teaching a little kid math, right? When they get the problem wrong, you don't tell them that they're so stupid and they're never going to make anything of themselves. You just go, hey, bud, look, does this answer really add up? Does 5 plus 2 really equal 10? Let's look at this again. Same thing. You want to communicate and educate without berating. And unfortunately, it takes time. But once you really commit to this and you decide to go all in, it gets easier and easier as you go. Step number 3, have an accountability partner. Have someone who's doing this with you. And even if they're not doing it maybe in the exact same way that you are, have someone on hand who gets it, who at least understands what gaslighting is and what self-gaslighting is. The reason that this is so incredibly important is because you're going to want to give up because you're going to catch yourself doing it a lot. Like, I'm sorry, that's just fact. I had to accept that too. I do it a lot less than what I used to, but I still catch myself doing it. And when I say used to, I did it a lot, basically every second of every day. I literally would wake up in the morning finding some excuse to put myself down and gaslight myself. It's that pervasive. Having an accountability partner makes it so much easier because one, you're not doing it alone, and two, you have someone to talk to when you're feeling stuck, when you don't want to call yourself out anymore, when it just seemed easier to beat yourself up all the time, because unfortunately, that's what our brain is wired to. So having someone on hand to call, to text, to Snapchat, whatever you need to do, having someone there is going to help encourage you, to lift you up and not let you get stuck. Also, having an accountability partner on hand to bounce ideas off of helps you to gain trust in yourself. Here's what I mean. If you're on a date or you're in a situation and someone says something and it makes you question it, maybe whether or not they're gaslighting, right? And you don't know whether or not it's actually happening and if it's true or if it's just in your head, having someone to relay the information to and have them go, oh my God, yes, trust your gut, they're gaslighting you. Or maybe take a step back. Are you sure you weren't just triggered in that moment, or were you actually being gaslit? Having someone in that moment to support you is going to help you. And in the same sense where you can bounce ideas off of them as far as external gaslighting, you can also say, you know what? I was thinking this to myself. You know me, right? You know me. You know what I'm capable of. You know what I can do. Is this feasible? And is this a true thought? Even if it's something awful, having someone confirm to you and say, that's not true, you deserve more, you're worth more, you're smarter than that, you're beautiful, whatever it is, that confirms this belief. It affirms the belief, right? When we have someone validate that we are being gaslit and we have someone validate this idea of what we've gone through, it helps in our brain to go, oh, so she is right. We're not supposed to think this way. And the more of that validation it gets from internal sources from yourself and external sources like your friend and accountability partner, that's going to help your brain heal so much faster. Step number 4, learn to trust yourself. Now, I know that may seem like a really big step, and to be honest, it is. And it's a step that I've been working on for years now. It takes time. It takes time to build that trust with yourself, just like you build trust with other people. For a long time, you were put down. You were taught that your boundaries, that your wants, your needs didn't matter. You were taught to believe that anything you wanted was out of the question. Therefore, you lost trust in yourself because you felt like you couldn't make decisions on your own. And that's okay. That's nothing to beat yourself up about. But learning to trust yourself again is going to be the biggest thing that you can do towards healing and recovery, especially towards breaking the self-gaslighting cycle. So how do you do this? How do you build up trust with yourself? 1, I want you to set goals and meet them. Yeah, that simple. I want you to create some goals and meet them, even if they're small ones. Maybe you have trouble putting the laundry away right as soon as it comes out of the dryer. Well, say, you know what? As soon as it's done with the dryer, I'm going to come sit down. I'm going to turn on New Girl on Netflix or Naruto if you're an anime lover like me and you're getting into it, right? And you're not going to turn off the TV until all of those clothes are folded and put away. When you make that goal, follow through with it. The more you follow through on what you tell yourself you're going to do, you're going to build trust with yourself. Also, set and keep boundaries. Tell yourself, I will not unblock a phone number. I will not text this person. I will not allow myself to be treated that way. And then stick to it. Now, that one is kind of a bigger skill in and of itself. But if you've been following me for a while on social media or you listen to my podcast, you know that boundaries are a really big deal to recovery and really big deal for everybody, actually, but especially for those of us in recovery. The more you build, communicate, and keep boundaries, the more you're going to trust yourself. And lastly, what I would love for you to do beyond setting those goals, beyond setting and keeping boundaries, is I want you to create some affirmations to say to yourself to help build that skill, to build this skill of trusting yourself. And if you're new around here and you haven't heard my spiel and affirmations, it's nothing woo-woo. I'm going to make sure I link to my podcast, Affirmation 101, in the description. Go listen to it. It breaks down the science, yes, science, about around affirmations and why they work and how you can use them to rewire your brain. So that'll be there. Go listen to that right after you finish this video. I promise it's really going to help. So here are some examples of affirmations that will help you build that trust with yourself. I trust myself. I am worthy of love, trust, and respect. I will follow through when I tell myself I'm going to do something. I do not deserve abuse. My brain can recognize when it's not healthy. I can trust my gut. I do not have to put up with this. I am allowed to say no. And my personal favorites, I am strong. I am capable. I am intelligent. I am worthy. I am enough. I am important. Reminding yourself of these truths on a consistent basis is really going to help you rewire your brain and begin to trust itself. And before we step into the fifth and final step, let's recap really quick. Step number 1, become aware, admit that you do it. Step 2, commit to calling yourself out when you do it. Step 3, have an accountability partner. Step 4, learn to trust yourself. And finally, step number 5, build your confidence. Now, again, that seems like a really big step. I've given you several steps that have lots of skills underneath that you have to master. The biggest thing around confidence that people don't understand is that when you build your confidence and you see more of your self-worth, when you have more self-worth, you trust yourself more. The more you trust yourself, the less you're going to gaslight yourself and the less you're going to allow yourself to be gaslit. This is a beautiful cycle, which is why confidence is so important. But confidence isn't something that's given to some people and not to others. Confidence is a learnable skill that you can get better at and get stronger in over time. And I am so passionate about the skill of confidence because it's the base of 90% of what I do. I have actually created a free 5-day confidence course. In 15 minutes a day for 5 days, you get the proven framework that has helped my clients, some friends, and followers build their confidence and get their life back. It may seem like confidence isn't that big of a deal, but trust me, it is worth it. Learning to be confident and flexing that muscle, building that skill is going to be one of the best things that you can do for yourself. So you can grab that free course, no strings attached, at karleighlynn.com/confidence. The link is going to be in the description. Again, 5 days. Boo, you are worth 5 days of investment. You are worth 15 minutes a day for 5 days. You've got this and you deserve it. This is going to help you end not only the gaslighting cycle, but it's going to help you break trauma bonds, help you end toxic relationships, and help you build this skill of confidence and independence so you can finally live the life that you deserve. And boo, you really do deserve it. You are worthy of it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you have any questions, please make sure you drop them in the comments, or you can send them in a DM on Instagram if you prefer to keep it private. You can find me at karleigh.lynn. The link will also be in the description so you can check it out. Thank you so much for hanging out, and never forget that you are strong, you are capable, you are intelligent, and boo, you are so freaking worthy.